Welcome everyone. This is once again your host Shailesh bringing you live from NZ World News, but also our series called Emotional Wellbeing Topics. And we always talk to people who are real humans. So this is all about real talk, real humans talking real things and their life journeys, which could help us and create a better understanding of the different lives that we all have to live, but we have to work together and live together. So today we have a amazing guest. I can call her my friend, but also I can call she is a soul that has got the multifacet of a human being. So not going to introduce you much of what she does and what she doesn't do. She'll tell you a little bit about that. But I think what we are going to talk about today is a life journey of a human being, and none other than Zoe Howse, who is from Australia, our neighbor. So she's not far off from us. So she's one of us. So let's invite and welcome Zoe for this amazing first episode with you of life journey of uncovering your life, basically. So tell me something about you. First, welcome to you for this beautiful, amazing episode that we are going to start with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we are gonna talk about today, Zavi, a life which every human has got a different, life when because of the environment they are brought in, the
Mm,
culture they are around us, the
mm.
upbringing, the mindsets, the traditions way of looking at things. And these are all our human beings that tell us to do this and do that. So I'm gonna dive into your life journey. What was your starting point of the day you realized that, oh, I have to live this life, or and how do I have to live this life? Why I have to live this life like this? Is it because your mom and dad or uncles and aunties or neighbors are telling us, or is it something that I have realized that I have to live this way? But as a child, what were you? Let's begin from your childhood. What was your environment? What was your cultural background? What was your amazing, environment that you grew up into? Let's talk about your child mindset.
Okay, sure. So I was born in New South Wales in the Blue Mountains. Uh,
Oh,
my
yeah.
parents had moved here from England right before I was born. So I have two English parents, was born in the mountains. Yeah, grew up as the eldest child, but I am from actually a very big family. So I'm one of seven children, but in my home environment, I was the eldest child. So that was what I was born into, the eldest child in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales.
Mhm.
That's where I started my journey. Yeah.
So what was it like when the environment that you grew in, was it like very much different to what your friends that you saw or your neighbors that you were, when you look at yourself today, how you have navigated from that mindset to what you are today? How
Oh,
would you
wow.
how would you talk about that? What would you say that, every child has got a dream. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to become this, I want to become that. And then you have those restrictions around you, whether it's culturally or whether environmentally or whether whatever you call it. There are certain things that we have to do at that every stage of our life,
Hmm.
irrespective whether we like it or we don't like. So how was your challenge, that challenge that you cope up with or that you changed to the way you want today that you are?
Well, I guess I've been on quite a big journey from then till now.
Hmm.
Um, like I said, I came from a very big family and also had three brothers. So when I was growing up, I was in a very, very noisy household, very loud boys. And yeah, I think as a result of that, I became quite not shy, but also didn't speak up as much because it was almost like it was difficult to
Hmm.
be heard in such a noisy household. So
Right.
yeah,
Mm.
I kind of started off life a little bit withdrawn and withholding my voice and a little bit shy, a little bit sensitive, all of those sorts of things.
Mhm.
And then we moved to Melbourne when I was about 6 years old. So we
Oh,
moved from New South Wales to Melbourne. That was a little bit challenging as a 6-year-old girl. So I probably became a little bit more withdrawn then as well.
mm.
Um, yeah, and then started growing up here in Melbourne. So I'm still in Melbourne now. I guess for me, my biggest life challenges didn't happen until my later years, probably when I got into my 20s and 30s. That's when life started becoming more challenging for me. I had a pretty normal childhood, other than having such a loud
Yeah,
family and
sure.
making myself a little bit like withdrawing my voice a little bit. I guess those behaviors started younger.
Yeah.
But for me, yeah, my biggest lessons happened a bit later in life, to be honest.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Also, as a child, now when you look back, that you were shy or you were not trying to talk because you were aware of your challenges inside your mind, that you may do certain things the way you don't like it or people will not like it. That's the challenge we have, whether we do for people around us or whether we do it for us. And some people are quite bold enough to talk their mind out when they are little or whatever age they are in. They just speak out. And then some people are very much aware that, oh no, if I speak out, that person may not like it, or I do not know how to react to that. So, in that challenge, what was you like as a child? What you are today, you are talking to me. So that means
Mm,
obviously you have taken that bold step of
mm.
talking. But at that time, you probably didn't. So, what was then at that time? Did you feel that you were undermining yourself, that you could not speak, or you were too much conscious about people's pleasing than what it is now?
Yeah, it's a sort of a combination of all of those things. So, having such a big family and such loud brothers, it almost felt like I wasn't heard. So, it was almost, there
Mm.
was part of me that thought, well, what's the point in speaking up? They're not going to hear me anyway. That was
Yeah.
one belief that I held. But
Yeah.
also, yeah, I guess I probably was overthinking a little bit as well. Like, I don't
Mm.
want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to, I was probably overthinking a little bit before I was speaking as well. But I was always,
Mm.
because I was sensitive, I was always very in tune with other people as well. And I'm not sure if you've heard of the term empath. I could always sort of feel other people's feelings.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think for that reason, I was also very careful about what I said as well, because I never wanted to hurt people's feelings.
But
Yeah.
isn't it that like putting others first before you? That's one way of looking at it. But then
Mm,
I want to ask you this question now, that when you
mm,
look back, the emotional well-being, that this series is all about emotional well-being, and these are the things that affect our emotional well-being, that
mm,
every single moment, right? No
mm,
matter which age you are in, no matter what age differences, these are our emotions that we have to manage and we have to control.
mm.
How would you now think that that time you suppressed a lot? Did you think that way now? When you think, were you more in the suppression mode rather than expression mode?
Definitely, yeah. I wasn't expressing my feelings. I wasn't expressing my voice. I was withholding back then. And you're right, it is like people pleasing behavior. That's probably what I was doing as a
Mm.
child. Yeah, without knowing I was doing it, but that is how I was behaving. Yeah. And
So, what have you learned from that now when you look back? That has it changed your mindset now to certain level?
yeah, I'm in a completely different place now, but I think I mentioned I had to go through some pretty big lessons to
Hmm.
learn that that behavior wasn't serving me. But it had to be some pretty big lessons and kind of a few of them to then realize that I need to change my behavior and I need to learn to express myself. I need to learn to speak up. Yeah.
Mm.
But it's been a process.
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
So what led to what really made those changes? When did you thought of changing to some extent? At what point? See, you came here at 6 year old, and then afterwards, what was your teenage life like, and what was your
Um,
still in that mode?
yeah, I guess as a teenager, I did start to rebel a little bit,
Mhm.
like as in going out drinking and doing things like that. And I guess that's one way that people deal with those sorts of feelings, isn't it? By just suppressing
Correct.
with
Yeah.
alcohol and
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah, so I was doing that as a teenager. Um, yeah, and I guess sometimes I hardly drink at all anymore, but back then when I would drink, I would become a lot more vocal,
Mhm.
because that's probably all the voice that I was withholding as a child. And then when I would drink alcohol, I would probably be the opposite end which isn't healthy either. So it's like overexpressing. That's probably
Mm,
how I dealt with it as a teenager, to be honest.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
That's what leads to our emotions because our emotions either react very extremely or whether very much suppressively. And that's the challenge we have to manage. And that's
Mm,
why the emotional well-being becomes a big part of our journey, irrespective which situation you are in. But also then it affects the decision making or the moving forward process, what exactly you want in life. And
mm.
how would you think that change your perspectives that, hey, am I supposed to do this? Or when did you think that, no, I don't want to now drink anymore. This is too much. That's going out of hands. Or what was the turning point in your life that you made those transformational decisions to,
Yeah, for me, it's been through relationships because you know how they say sometimes relationships can be like a mirror for you and it can show you the
oh,
things
yes.
within yourself. So I think my
Hmm.
first relationship when I was a teenager, I felt really controlled and disempowered in that relationship because those behaviors that we spoke about that I, as a
Yep.
child, I was still doing that. So I was not speaking up. I
Mm.
wasn't expressing my feelings. And I ended up in a little bit of a controlling dynamic, I guess you could say, in that relationship. And I felt completely disempowered. So that was as a teenager, I noticed that pattern. And then
Mm.
it probably wasn't until I got to my 20s that I went through a big heartbreak again from a relationship. And
Mm.
that was, I was still drinking at that point. And that's when I realized that alcohol does not serve me at all. And that was the point. I was probably in my mid to late 20s at that point when I realized it's time to have a real look at myself and my behaviors and go inwards and go on a little bit more of an inner journey and start to grow and change within myself so that I
Mhm.
didn't keep attracting situations that weren't serving me. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that now when you look back to all the listeners who are listening that, hey, relationships is a good thing because then you have someone to fall back, someone to depend, someone to express, someone to talk to. But then when you grew up in a mindset, is it like then you feel either that is controlling or you are trying to please more to that person and then getting caught up into that controlling mode? So would you blame the person who is taking advantage or would you
Mm.
think that it was you who
It's
were?
me. Yeah. I mean, it's both,
Yeah,
but
it was. But
yeah,
ultimately, your actions are your actions, right?
exactly. Yeah. And that's what I was talking about, realizing that I had to go inwards because what is it within me that I
Mm.
need to change so that I don't keep getting into those dynamics? Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where the challenges are. Everybody wants to get into a relationship thinking that, oh, relationship is the best part, of course. But there are many things of the best part of a human life. It is not just, this is just one part, relationship. But then you too much please in that relationship, whether it's your family, mom and dad, or whether it's your relationship, partnership, or love relationship, you still try to give away too much things of yours rather than actually having a balanced kind of, hey, you have this say, I have this say as well, and yet we can still live together. But that's not what happens most of the time. What we see in relationship is either you give control to someone or you please to someone, try to please,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
how how did you finally then navigate those challenges that you had? What was your kind of turning point?
My turning point was definitely 2012 when I went through my first heartbreak, and that was like a big awakening for me. And that was when I was like, I need to do some work on myself. I need to start learning some different techniques. That's when I started meditating back in 2012.
Mm.
That's when I realized meditation was a really good way to help you find that inner calm and that inner state, because I was feeling so much emotion and so much pain back then. Meditation was the only thing that was actually helping me feel calm and balanced. So that was probably when I first started going down that path. I
Yeah.
also then started to become a yoga instructor. I started studying yoga back then, and I also went through a big career change at the same
Oh,
time.
wow.
My whole life kind of changed at that point. I used to be a nurse, and at that point, I decided to have a career change and start studying more holistic types of wellness and healing modalities. Yeah.
So you started your career as a nurse, you said?
I
Oh,
did, yeah. I was a nurse for 12 years. Yeah.
oh, and how did that go? Because coming from that kind of mindset where, of course, one part of your life was that you were trying to please either
Mm.
to person, and then but that means that also the other side, one could say that, oh, because you are in that helping mode and you are putting others first, would that would have led to your mindset to come as a nurse, or it was just to earn or just try to get. There has to be a liking for nurse, because I personally feel that nursing is not an easy job for anyone, because it's like serving the humans, and only those people who I personally feel who are self-realized, like teachers and nurses are the ones who are quite self-realized people who wants to understand that our journey is with other humans. We cannot avoid other humans. What was you to start as a nursing? What was your mindset at that time?
I've always just wanted to help people in my career. So as a child and then as a teenager, it was always, I just always wanted to help people. So I thought nursing made the most sense to go and
Mm,
study, at uni and then start my career off as a nurse. So yeah, I did enjoy it, but yeah, I guess I did feel a little bit like I didn't have a voice as a nurse because I did enjoy it, but yeah, it's still that people pleasing mode, I guess you could say, if that
mm.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I get that. I get that. But also coming to that, like, as you rightly said, and when I said to them, a human has got so much talents and so much skills that until they try, they don't know who they are or what they have to do. It's it's not about recognizing who you are. It's about more about what makes it much better every moment to please your more soul rather than
Mm.
else. Because
Mm.
we try to satisfy our tummy when they are hungry, and when we try to satisfy our throat when they are thirsty. Similar like that, we try to satisfy our soul that, hey, I feel good about it. Whatever I did, whatever 1 second, 2 seconds, whatever 1 day, 2 day I did good. But to do that, you have to take that extra step of coming out of your comfort zone and trying different things and new things.
Yeah.
And so when you stopped your nursing career at that time, you probably thought that, oh, you have lots to help. You have want to help, but there are many ways of helping. So what is was your going in your mind at that time? And then how did you made that easy transition for our listeners to understand that, human mind is very flexible, adaptable, and has got a lot of things that they can adapt. But how and what to adapt is what how you should please your soul, and that's how you adapt basically. Many people think that, oh, I can't go in the new dynamics or new changes. I am comfortable where I'm, even though I know what I want to do another thing, but I don't want to do it. I'm happy here what I am doing. And but you probably went out of your comfort zone and said that, nah, I want to do something else. So what really made that, and how do you feel that after taking those steps? So let us understand.
Well, it was about 14 years ago now, I think, when I made that decision. It was 2012.
Hmm.
And for me, it was still that drive of wanting to help people. That's where it was coming from. Um, I think when I was nursing, I did feel like I was helping people, but I guess I didn't feel like I was ever getting to the core of helping them, of the core of the problem. It was more like giving them medication to help manage symptoms for something, or managing symptoms, whereas I wanted to get more to the core of how can I actually help somebody from a deeper level, if that makes sense. How can you help someone with lifestyle changes or teach new habits that are going to improve their life in a certain way. So I guess I was going through my own healing journey at the time as well, from being a highly stressed nurse who wasn't really expressing herself and people pleasing behaviors. And then everything came crashing down. And then I had to review myself and start my own healing journey from there. And
Right.
then knowing how powerful that was for me and coming back to myself, I wanted to start teaching other people those same tools. That's where it came from. Yeah.
Yeah, so helping is a big part, but not many people, and it can be misunderstood when you try to help someone. And then in that process, we say that whether it is helping or whether it is your selfishness or whether it is your selflessness, it becomes a little bit of challenge that I want to help, but there are many ways of help, and people think that I should help only in this way. Monetary help is another aspect, but then not every time people need monetary help, they need different, and that's more important and matters. um, because when you are a tummy full and you still are looking for help, it's not monetary help, it's something else that they look for. So, I wanted to ask this particularly to you, that you have changed transitions yourself into helping mode from nursing to different things, that you want to keep helping, supporting people, put it this
Mm,
way, in some
mm.
form you want to support. And that's a great thing. But in today's world, if I have to ask you, how was your experience? What's your experience in life journey so far? Being yourself into that supporting, want to support, what's your reaction to the other people around you and the environment that you are in currently? What's your experience in when it comes to other people? How do you would you say that in today's world?
Other people in general, or other
Yeah, in
people
general.
as in my clients, or
No, no, in general. In general.
my reaction to people?
And their reactions to your support that you are giving, trying to give support.
I only give support to people if they want it. I don't ever try and preach my word or push
Mm.
my views. I've learned that, discernment. Like some people
Yeah.
aren't ready to hear your perspective. It's all about perspective, really. Everyone has their own life experience. So, yeah, I don't push my views on people. If people want to come and work with me or want to ask me for advice, I'll openly share.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think
But
everyone's on their own journey. And when you're ready, the teacher appears. I believe that is also true.
absolutely. But in
Mm.
general, what's your take on today's world? The way the systems that everybody is into and the way they're looking for help, support in whatever shape, form. But what's your general view on the system and on the world that we are living in currently? Do you feel that there is a lot of like, I mean to say, it's like, is it like you see it's real that they need support, or is it the fake that they need support? If I have to ask you,
What kind of support do you mean?
like everybody wants and everybody seeks help and support in
Yeah.
what way they could get. But is it more for their own benefit, or is it more for the good of themselves rather than good of general public?
I guess it depends on what the person is seeking support around,
Hmm.
and there's so many different avenues of support these days. We've got
Yeah,
the
correct.
traditional medicine, which obviously I've left that
Mhm.
field and come into more holistic side of things. So, you've got people that will go to the doctor and get given some medication to fix a problem, or you've got people that might try a natural approach. Yeah, so people can seek support in many different ways. It's
Of
yeah.
course. So is it the system support is much in your view, in your experience, the system gives you support one way, and then the others, humans like you, come forward and try to give support or try to
Mhm.
get support. So in your experience, the world that we are living in, are they going away from the system support and looking towards more people?
I feel like that is the way we are going. I'm not sure whether that's just my lens right now because it's my
In
world,
your view, in your view, this is your experience we are talking about.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely with my experience, I take a more holistic approach with my clients. I work a lot with breath work now to help find nervous system regulation. Yeah, it's for me, it's around finding those holistic ways of being and going inwards to find answers as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, rather than seeking, I
Hmm.
mean, I guide my clients on how to go inwards and find those answers within themselves. Yeah.
Right.
So I still act as a coach or a guide, but there is so much wisdom and knowledge within ourselves that we can find if we can learn to access that state.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's where most people are stuck at the moment, that they don't
Mm,
feel how to how to manage their own kind of inner self, how to
mm,
understand their own inner self. So
mm.
so what would be your kind of message in terms of to the people who wants to, you know, trying to find outside before they try to find from within themselves? If I had to ask you this, since you are now in that mode of within
Mm.
coming, how would you describe and how would you say to the people that are listening now is how do we manage the outer and the inner? So do you want to get into your inner self first? But what is that simple things that people can understand the way you can explain?
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned about my own journey when I went through that heartbreak, right? And the only thing that made me feel better was meditation, because I
Right.
was learning to find that stillness. I didn't go to the doctor and go and get antidepressants. I could have done that,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. That's right.
because I was so sad. But instead, I found meditation and I learned to calm my body on my own and
Mm,
realize, hey, this is all me. I can do this on my own. This is all through learning to connect with my inner self and finding that inner balance. And I think we can all do that. And you know, I also teach breath work now, and that's another excellent tool that you can use to regulate your nervous system. And there's so many things we can do with our own bodies before we need to run off and get medication. I do think medication has its place sometimes, but also there are things we can do first that we can find within ourselves to help us find that balance and that connection back to ourselves.
right,
Mm.
right, right, right. So coming back where you are now, how would you think that at this stage of your life journey that you are in today, what have you kind of learned and moved on from things so that you have that mindset that whenever anything in the future which is not promised, which is very uncertain, but you are ready for it in terms of whatever you can face, what you have faced so far, right?
Mm.
How would you put yourself in current state of your mind, that are you good enough to understand to move forward, or we don't need to understand life that too much, just take as it comes, and be brave to face it rather than
Mm.
not face it, right? uh,
Yeah, exactly. Life
mm,
is unpredictable. You don't know what's coming next, and
yeah,
you do need to sort of trust that everything is in alignment. Things are happening for a reason. There are ups and downs, but we just need to navigate those and learn to come back to our center through the ups and downs.
right, right. So
Mm.
give us more elaborate explanation on that, how easy it is to be in that mindset of what you are today.
It's not easy. I've been through huge lessons,
Yeah,
like huge
everybody goes
lessons to
through
get
something.
to this state now. Yeah. And through learning tools and practices. So, yeah, regular meditation, regular breath work, regular journaling, doing all of these things that connect me back into myself. I've worked on my subconscious blocks, on my beliefs that were blocking me from seeing things clearly. You know, shifting my perception. There's
Yeah.
been so much inner work that I've done through all of the challenges that I've experienced to get
Mm.
to this place now. So it's not a simple. It takes practice.
But
Yeah.
to navigate that also needs
Yes.
courage to do it. And many people lose confidence and courage they don't. So, because of fear, that's another important aspect. Like, but
Mm,
to become fearless, you have to take those steps. And to take those steps, should have that courage and confidence and not worrying about the future, what it will happen. Too many people think about what will happen in the future and they don't take the steps and they remain where they are.
mm,
Too many people think about the past that it happened that much. That's why I won't want to do it. because it could happen the same thing what happened in the past. So they think that the past could repeat, and some people think that the future is uncertain, so I don't want to take those actions. In your view, how would you think now that you are in at this stage? What is your take on these two human aspects of common things that let the people get stuck where they are?
I think you're right when you spoke about that fear and that fearlessness. A lot of people live in a state of fear without even realizing. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, our brain is sort of wired for that fear state. You know,
Right.
we'll often have negative thoughts, worrying about the future or worrying about, but that could happen instead of being present
Mm.
and trusting
Yeah.
that everything is okay and everything is happening for a reason. And yeah,
Mm.
just having that trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in your view, then I have to ask you, like, after creating multiple things that you are now into, you are easily accepting multiple things. You are not worried about the achievement, success, or what is success, because people get bogged down with these things that, hey,
Mm,
I don't want to do it because I may not get a success. And
mm,
success is a very different meaning for everyone. I don't believe in these labels and tags, but people are get bounded by the labels and tags. But now that you have created such certain things, you moved from nursing, you had experiences of relationships, a couple of relationships or whatever that happened, but you have moved on and you have accepted and you are managing. So, that state of mind is the much acceptance state of mind where now you are ready to take anything and anything, but also not worried about the labels like success and all. So in that regard, what's your message to the people who are listening, that what is it that we should be really doing and not doing? So if I have to ask you, doing and not doing, so people generally don't want to do if they don't feel any success in it, and that's a very subjective title, that before even doing something they want success to be imagined. They imagine success even before taking any actions, right?
mm.
So what would you how would you now tell to people or to yourself that you are in, it's okay to accept whatever way it comes and just try and new things, because that's the life. So what's your meaning of life, if I have to ask you in other
Oh,
terms?
that's a big question. Meaning of life. I mean, I feel we're all here to learn, you know,
Yeah,
and you were
yeah.
saying before about finding
Mm,
success and things like that. Like, whatever it is we're seeking, there's
mm,
going to be roadblocks, there's going to be challenges, there's
mm,
going to be mistakes, there's going to be things that happen. So instead of focusing on the fearful side of being worried about those things, just
mm.
embrace life's journey and understand that we are here to learn, and things like challenges are going to come up, but it's okay. You know, we learn and grow through that, and we become more evolved, and then we keep going, we take those lessons on to the next thing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, we are all in the evolvement stage, and we are not worried about how short or how long your life is, or what have you achieved and what have you not achieved in life. But we are here to navigate every single challenge that come to live every moments. So life is a different, very much like if somebody asks me, or somebody, if I have to ask you, what is life? Nobody understands what is life, because they only know that we are living, and until we are breathing, we are living. That's all I say. But what is life is, rather than say, how are you going to end your life, and what you would you like to achieve before you end your life. And I think these are the things that people don't look at it. People only look at what is life and how do I live my life. But how do I end my life? Because this is going to end. So if I had to ask you this, nobody knows whether you're gonna be born, but everybody knows when they are born, they're gonna die. Now, that's a question that I still trying to understand myself and research. But let me see how what do you think because we are talking about your life journey. Now,
Mm,
life journey starts with your life, so you came into this world, but now you know that you're gonna die, or you're not gonna be here forever, or we think we are not immortal, but that again has been taught to us. What is mortality and what is immortal? We don't know. However, if I have to ask you in simple words, what would you think one thing before we all gonna vanish from this planet? If I ask you, what would you like to achieve, or what would you like to achieve for yourself, not for others, not for people to know, but for yourself, that you would say that, okay, I was born and I know I'm gonna go, but look, I did before I going this couple of things that I wanted to. As you said rightly, keep learning is one of the important part of your life. Before
mm,
before you vanish, you keep learning and we keep evolving.
mm,
So, in that simple sense, if I have to ask you, what would be things that you would like to do? There will be many things, not one thing. So, I'm not going to ask you to pinpoint one thing because that is very much hard for anyone to understand. Because the one thing that has not come in your life is still we don't know. So, if today we think this is good, but there is one thing still left, which may be better than that. So I won't ask you what is one thing which is what you want to achieve, but how do you want to make your life transition before it vanishes? What state of mind you want to be into each moment? Let me put it this way.
state of mind. I mean, when you initially asked that question, my answer was going to be that I just wanted to have helped as many people as I could and make a difference. But
Yeah,
then you said it
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
about me. I mean, you wanted to make it more about me, but like that has
No, but
always
that is
been,
you. If you want to help people, that is you. That's what you want to
yeah,
achieve, and that's what
yeah,
you want to keep doing. So
yeah.
that's beautiful, actually.
So shifting people's perception or
Yes.
expanding their consciousness or the way that they see things
Mm,
is important to me, and I want to help as many people as I can. I have a beautiful 11-year-old son as well, and raising him into
yeah,
a healthy, happy uh, boy is important to me. And yeah, you said the mindset. I guess just living with a state of joy is so important, right? Like
absolutely.
not
Peace.
only being present, but also having that lightness and
Mm,
and having that joy in life. You don't
mm,
want to live life with resentments or stress every day or fear-based mindset. You want to be able to get your inner state into that sense of lightness and joy and trust. Yeah.
mm. So, what is joy according to you? Every state of mind is not going to be the same. Our this is a topic on emotional well-being, and I keep saying our mind state is what determines us, our emotional aspects. Every single moment they could be different. As you said, there are many aspects. You want your child to grow well. You want your state of help to others. We can want to change mindset. These are all dynamics of every single moment, and it becomes very challenging when each time you want to find that peace or the joy in doing those things, even though they could be challenging. But they should be more like you are doing it with your own inner self rather than just for the sake of doing it, right? And
Mm,
that's where the question is, how do you find that balance of peace? Because many people get depressed and dejected and rejected and regret when they don't achieve something of what they want. And that is always a challenge. Why would you like to be in that expectations mode? So, to have that joyful moment, or to have that blissful moment, or to
yeah.
have that peace moment, you need to come out of these all expectations, right?
Yep. Yep.
What's your state of mind in
Right
your,
now,
yeah, when it comes to expectations? How would you describe that? What's your feeling on that? What's your experience on that?
expectations. I think it's good to have goals and direction and to strive for things in life, and whether that be a new job or a new house or whatever it is you're trying to create. But I
Mhm.
also believe that if it doesn't happen for you, or if it doesn't happen the way that you expected, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You have to sometimes go with the flow in life and trust that you're going to get redirected somewhere else that's
Mm,
maybe more aligned. And that
mm,
comes back to that trust that I was speaking about earlier, trusting that everything is unfolding as it should,
mm,
and having that resilience to know, learn the lessons through the challenges, and expecting something else is on the way. Always having that mindset that, okay, that didn't work, but let's do the next thing. Let's move on to the next thing. Yeah.
yeah, and that is what gives you peaceful as well and joy as well in whatever you do, rather than get stuck. Or if that is
Mm,
now you are stuck even to do anything new, and that
mm,
restricts you from experiencing the life, and that restricts you from evolvement of life as well. That you
mm,
don't evolve the way you should have because you
mm.
are stuck in one mode, and you are not a machine to get stuck. You are a human being. So you need to evolve every single moment, right?
Yeah.
So now this is great. So tell me, I like your take on this whole what we are discussing today is about your life, but also what your life, not goals, but your per se, the way you want to carry your moment of life journey, every single moment, is by maximizing help and support for the humans around you and the way you want to do and support and help to every person, which is a great kind of attitude of life, I would say. Otherwise, people have goals of only doing this and that, and then they don't get that, and then they get depressed. So when you have an open mind like that, okay, I want to help as many people, no matter whatever shape, form it is. So your emotional well-being in that state of mind in at this moment is very much flexible, adaptable, and acceptable to anything new that comes along your way, rather than saying that, no, I want only this or I want only that, right?
Mm.
Um, so in that perspective, tell me one of your message that what you have experienced so far, and what would you like to say to all the audience who are listening, that what should be our emotional well-being in your way, if you want to describe. Our emotional well-being is always been checked by ourselves, but it is affected by others, it is guided by others around us, but it is still affected to us. In that moment, what's your message to the people? Should you navigate your emotional well-beings?
I think it comes down to being aware of what's going on in the mind,
Mm.
because the mind is such a powerful thing. And we are actually programmed for negative thought patterns. That's how we've been programmed over the years to be in that
Right.
state of fear. So once
Mhm.
we can become more conscious of actually what's happening in the mind,
Mhm.
and then we can start to, we don't have to hear that negative voice, we don't have to believe that negative voice. We have the power to hear it, acknowledge it, and say, okay, but I don't actually agree with that, and then come up
Mhm.
with a more empowering perspective or vision. We might have that doubt in our mind saying, oh, you're not good enough, you didn't get that job, but we
Mhm.
can catch ourselves out in the moment and say, I'm not going to listen to that. That's not a healthy way of thinking. That job wasn't the right one for me. I'm going to apply for another one, and the right one is just around the corner. It's around having a mindset and shifting your state from a fear-based state into a more of a love-based state. So shifting that perception.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And do you think that it can be done very easily for each every human mind?
I mean, for me, it was a process. I worked with a coach for a year to learn how to do it, but then I learned those skills myself, and now I teach people how to do that. I think it's a new way of being because we are programmed to think negatively. So I do think having some support can help, but you can journal, you can do go inwards, like I said, and rebalance your nervous system so that you can come back to balance, and emotional regulation. There's a lot of things that you can do yourself as well,
Absolutely.
or you can get support to help you. It's try on your own, and then if you need to reach out for support you can. But yeah, I think shifting the mindset is the first place that people need to look at, and have a look at what's going on. Are you stuck in these negative loops, these negative thought patterns? Bring it
Mhm.
to your attention first. Yeah.
And that is a process, and that is investing some time for yourself, within yourself. And that's what the today's world people probably don't want to wait, don't want to invest in their own time. They want everything instant. They
Mm,
think answers are instantly available. And certain things of life, they are not instantly, you don't need to expect as instantly because every single thing there is a process, even our emotional mindset, even our emotions, like when you are laughing or when you are crying, it has got a certain limit of how long would you cry and how long would you laugh for. So it is a process, but investing in understanding is the very key thing that you said, that understanding and of your own negative thoughts is we are programmed or we have learned to do that, but the efforts that you take to change those is what is makes your life more better, because
hundred
you are
percent.
right. And
Yeah.
I think that's what the key message to all the listeners, that if you really want to invest in yourself, there is nothing right or wrong or too long or too short time. It just you have to invest your time in that. And time is not measurable. So never try to think that time is a measurable thing. What you have to do, you have to do, irrespective of whether you have time or not. That's what it is. Even if it takes 1 minute, even if it takes 1 hour, it doesn't matter. What's the need of the hour? You still invest your time in that. You have to.
Mm.
So, in that regard, Zoe, this is amazing first episode with you to talk about your life journey, and I wanted to now tell you, give our audience and give to send to talk to me about the last few things that you would like to touch on as a human of your own life journey. How would you try to tell the audience that are listening that whatever you have done so far, learned so far, evolved so far, it's going to take you in the future, whatever the moments you have, but you're not going to be worried about how many moments and how much time you have on that level. What's your message to us and the audiences, to me and to all the audiences who are listening to you today about your life journey? What would you like to say as some messaging kind of thing?
Uh, I would just like to say that, yeah, life is a journey. Like you said, my life journey, it has been a journey.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I have had many setbacks. I guess I didn't even go into great detail about them today, but I've had some big lessons. And when you go through challenges, that is your opportunity for growth, right? That is your opportunity to go inwards, reassess how you're doing things. You use it as
Mhm.
a signpost, like, okay, how can I take accountability here? What can I do differently? And perhaps it is time to go inwards, look at the way you're thinking, look at the way you're seeing the world, and and be willing to evolve and grow and learn along the way, and
Mhm.
use those lessons as blessings, because I do believe you can turn your pain into power. That is, what we can do when we experience hard times to help us grow and evolve.
Mm. So, pain into power is a great statement you made. And this is
Mm,
where people get stuck in the pain, but not realizing the power that you can overcome that pain. So amazing. That's the beauty. Last few words that you said was really resonate with me, because I always say that fear to fearless. We are all fearful, but we are born to become fearless. And what you said just now is equally resonate, that pain is not just the pain. It is from pain. You have the power to overcome that pain. You have to change that pain. You can make that pain beautiful pain for you, so that, at the end of the day, and I have that analogy, like every woman has to go through that when they are bearing a child, but nobody understands that people who bear the child and people who don't bear the child, it is still the pain. The physical pain is still there, but also mental pain is there when you bear a child and when you don't bear a child, right? So there are many people who don't have a child, and so that itself is a pain as well. But you have the power to overcome that, to give your lessons, to experience that pain. Then only you can make those experiences into beautiful wisdom, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is where we are here at to all the listeners. Zoe is has she said, yeah, we didn't touch on her shortcomings, weaknesses, or whatever pain she has gone through, but we understand what she has been telling us, that this is where you got to make those changes into your own journey, because this is a journey. This is not something that it's one thing happens and it's only for one thing you are here. You are here for many things. So, with that note, I want to take this final opportunity to Zoe to give your one last message to the people.
Oh, another message. Okay.
Because I like your pain to power.
Yes, that's been one of my biggest ones. But also for me, my one of my other biggest lessons for my own self was around believing in myself and stepping into my own power, which was, for me, it
Mm.
was a lesson around self-worth and self-belief. So believe in yourselves, guys. Yeah, and do what you need to do to grow. Do the work, do the inner work, learn to quieten the mind, connect in with yourself through meditation, through breath work. Yeah, that's really powerful, and you can start to just detach from the negative thought process and go inwards, find that space, that calm. It gives you room to grow and connect back to your authentic self and your authentic power.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, no, authenticity is very important, Zoe, because I think many people in today's world, they are want to pretend rather
Mm,
than authentic. And I always say that, one is you have a face for the public, one you have a face for your family members, and one you have a face for yourself. And that's the most important part of what you want to present. You can present yourself to the public the way you want to and think that nobody is looking at it, or you can present your face to the family and think that nobody is knowing it. But the last face that you are presenting to yourself knows everything, and you cannot avoid anything. And that becomes the most emotional well-being of our aspect, because the more you fake yourself, more you not authentic yourself, the more you are very much into that mode of non-authenticity, you are going to be having a lot of emotional well-being issues in terms of navigating every single moment, right?
mm,
So, Zoe, thank you so much. This is amazing discussion we had today, and I think we should come back on the negativity, because you touched on a few times on your negative thoughts that keep coming, and your pattern, or your programmed to certain thoughts, and you have to always say, to navigate that, you have to always be very much present and very much authentic. So I think I would love to have a more topic on the negativity and the positivity, what exactly that means, and how do you navigate that, and why it is so important. For some people, negative is positive, and for positive is negative for some people, and we are always having a battle that who is right and who is wrong. But it's not about that, who is right and who is wrong. It's about how do you navigate your own negative thoughts and how you navigate your own positive thoughts. And I think that will be a good topic for us to talk about.
sure.
But but yeah, so to all the listeners, this was Zoe, all the way from Australia, but also very much now you have understood the life journey of every human is different. But how do we make those transition by going inner? And she touched on many things with the inner breath work and all your own yourself. You can navigate. You don't need dependency on anyone, and you should never be in that restrictive mindset. You should always be in that, believe in yourself, what she said. is very much strong, that you are gaining confidence to yourself. You are giving
Hmm.
confidence to yourself. And I think that's a beautiful word. So, with that note, I want to end this and thank very much, Zoe, for coming on this amazing episode of Life Journey on emotional well being topics. And we will come back to all of you once again. And if you have any questions and anything you want to know more about Zoe and her work that she's doing, because her final goal, I would say, is to help as many people. And with that note, I think helping is amazing for everyone and anyone, because we are all humans and we are all here for each other and to grow each other. So we need support from each other. We need help from each other. And help is not something that that you feel low about it, but help is something you empower each other. With that note, Zoe, what do you think about the final? If this is the third time final, your final message to all, because I can't stop getting your beautiful words from you.
A third final message. I think I might tie it back into what we ended on before, which was around authenticity. Be
Mhm.
yourself and don't be afraid to be yourself because it's so important. Yeah.
Yeah, very well said. Yes, to all the listeners, be yourself and don't be afraid of being yourself, because that's what will define you, and that will define your existence as who you are as a human being. So beautiful, beautiful, Zoe. Thank you so much for this amazing episode, and we look forward to catching up with you soon with coming other topics. And if you like to know more about other topics that you would like to tell us and talk to us, please let us know, and we can come back with those topics. With that note, bye for now, and we will catch up soon. Thank you,
Bye.
Zoe.
Thank you so much. See you later.